When I was 8 years old, I learned that my mom was struggling with opioid addiction, solely due to the fact that she had undergone two spine surgeries and was prescribed medication that quickly led to a nasty disease that lasted for 10 years. Um, it wasn't until my grandmother had walked in the house, which was very unlike her. She didn't live anywhere near us. She lived about 8.5 hours away. And she had walked in the house, and as I was standing by my mother, my grandma had said, "Brooke, I'm taking the girls." And my mom had broke down crying. And next thing I know, we are living with our aunt and uncle, my two sisters and I. Um, I think being 8, 9, and 11 years old, that in itself is very traumatizing, aside from the traumatizing events that we saw before we knew that she was struggling with this addiction. She was falling asleep at the wheel, um, not coming home at night, um, was super aggressive all the time, would not pick us up from school until 8 p.m. sometimes. Just wasn't doing what, a normal mom would do. Um, there was no going to back to school night. There was no going to my soccer games. It was a lot of me being envious of other kids' parents doing that. Um, and now looking back on that, it made me a better person. As bad as that sounds, it did, because I know the value of family now. I know what I want my family to be like, and it's not going to be that. Um, as an 8-year-old, it really hurt to see my mom choose something like that over her kids. But being an adult now, I can see that it wasn't her actively choosing pills over her children. It was her addiction. I don't think that, I think that addiction changes a person. I don't think that addiction is a person. Um, and in those moments, it was really hard to come to terms with the fact that I did not have a mom. I did not have a dad. My dad was never really in the picture. So my mom was my best friend. And being away from her for 2.5 years was extremely hard. Not being able to experience birthdays with her, soccer games, birthday parties, but seeing other kids were able to do that with their parents, that changes a person for sure. That changes a child for sure. Um, so now, looking back on it, it's completely changed me. I think without that, I would be a completely different person. I would not be as hardworking as I am now, as independent, as self-sufficient, as self-reliant. Um, I am grateful for what it did teach me. I'm not grateful that it happened, because it completely ruined my family. It ruined my mom as a person. It ruined my childhood. It ruined my sister's childhoods. Um, and it was just a nasty disease, and you really don't know the effects of it until you go through it. You can hear all of these stories about how these families are broken apart by addiction, but unless you're truly in it, you don't know the severity of it, which is why I rarely talk about it, because it's, number one, it's a hard thing to talk about, and number two, it's like, okay, well, nobody's going to understand anyway, so might as well just keep it to myself. But throughout recent years, I have realized that it's probably healthy for me to be talking about it, because I do see the effects of what it did to, a little tiny brain. I was only 8 years old. Like, those were my my forming years. And there's no reversing that. So that's hard to come to terms with now, but it helps that I know that my mom is 8.5 years clean today. So I am very much grateful for that, and I am grateful that it taught me the things that I know now.